In 1963, the President of the United States was so terrified of one small country building a nuclear bomb that he tried everything in his power to stop it, and he still failed completely. That country was Israel, and by the end of this video, you will understand exactly why building a nuclear weapon might be the most dangerous, most secretive, and most betrayal-filled race in human history. There are 195 countries on this planet today, and almost every single one of them owns some kind of advanced military hardware. But out of all these nations, only 10 have ever managed to build the deadliest weapon ever created by human hands. That is barely 5% of the entire world. So why is the club so small? Because getting a nuclear weapon does not just require money or scientists. It requires spies willing to risk execution, allies willing to betray each other, and governments willing to lie to the entire world for decades. Let us start at the very beginning with the country that started this entire race. In 1938, German scientists made a discovery that would change history forever. They figured out how to split an atom and release a terrifying amount of energy in the process. When news of this reached Albert Einstein, sitting in America, he immediately warned the United States government that if Hitler got his hands on this technology first, nobody would be able to stop him. That single warning letter gave birth to the Manhattan Project, an operation so secretive that even most American officials had no idea it existed. Scientists from the United States, Britain, and Canada worked together in the desert, racing against a clock nobody could see. By 1945, Germany had already surrendered, but the bomb was ready anyway. Within weeks, 2 nuclear bombs fell on Japan, and the world instantly understood that everything about warfare had just changed forever. Here is the twist almost nobody expects. The very next country to get the bomb was actually America's own wartime ally. The Soviet Union had fought alongside the United States against Hitler. Yet the moment Washington succeeded with its first nuclear test, American and British scientists abruptly stopped sharing their research. Moscow felt betrayed, and in response, Soviet intelligence quietly planted spies deep inside the Manhattan Project itself. The Americans were not fooled for long, though. They turned several of these Soviet agents into double agents, deliberately feeding them false information. It became an invisible war of deception, hidden completely behind the real war. By 1949, years earlier than American intelligence had predicted, the Soviets successfully detonated their own bomb in Kazakhstan. In that single moment, the American monopoly on the deadliest weapon on Earth was over, and the Cold War truly began. If you think betrayal stopped there, wait until you hear what happened to Britain. Britain had actually started nuclear research even before the Americans, under a secret project of its own. But during the war, resource shortages forced them to hand over their research to the Manhattan Project, under an agreement promising both countries would share the resulting technology. Once America actually built the bomb, it simply tore up that promise and refused to share anything. Betrayed by its closest ally, Britain scrambled to rebuild an independent nuclear program from scratch, and remarkably, they succeeded by 1952, detonating their first bomb near a set of remote islands close to Australia. Now the world had 3 nuclear powers, and things were about to escalate in a way nobody had predicted. Fearing that rivals were catching up too quickly, America pushed forward into something exponentially more dangerous than a regular atomic bomb. The hydrogen bomb? Where a normal atomic bomb splits atoms apart to release energy, a hydrogen bomb fuses them together, essentially recreating the same process that powers the sun itself. When America tested this new weapon in 1952, its destructive power was roughly 450 times greater than the bomb dropped on Hiroshima. Naturally, the Soviets and the British both followed within a few short years, determined to prove they were not falling behind. Next came France, and their story involves one of the most humiliating moments in modern colonial history. French scientists had actually worked on the original Manhattan Project, but after the war, their focus shifted purely towards nuclear energy for electricity. That changed dramatically in 1956, when Egypt seized control of the Suez Canal from British and French control. France and Britain, alongside Israel, launched a secret military operation to take it back. but both the Americans and Soviets pressured them to back down, humiliating France on the world stage. Stung by that embarrassment, France decided it would never again be pushed around without its own nuclear deterrent. Using uranium sourced from its African colonies, France successfully tested its first bomb in the Sahara Desert by 1960. China came next, and their motivation traces back to a single, very direct threat. During the Korean War, after Chinese forces pushed American troops back on the battlefield, the United States reportedly threatened China with nuclear weapons. Chairman Mao realized immediately that without a bomb of his own, China would always be vulnerable to this kind of pressure. At first, the Soviet Union actually helped China's nuclear program, but the friendship soured when Soviet leadership began softening its stance toward the West. Mao accused them of abandoning true communism, and in response, Moscow pulled every single scientist out, leaving China's program in ruins. China refused to give up. They found their own uranium deposits and successfully completed their first nuclear test in 1964, naming it 596, a not-so-subtle jab referencing the exact month the Soviets had abandoned them years earlier. This is where the story shifts towards secrecy so deep it is still technically unconfirmed today. Israel is widely believed to possess nuclear weapons, yet to this day has never officially confirmed or denied it. That secrecy might have lasted forever if not for one technician named Mordecai Vanunu, who leaked photographs and documents to a British newspaper in 1986, exposing Israel's program to the entire world. Israel's motivation was survival, surrounded by hostile neighbors after multiple wars. President Kennedy strongly opposed Israel acquiring the bomb, but after his assassination, that pressure vanished, and Israel quietly completed its program by 1967. As for Vanunu himself, Israeli intelligence reportedly lured him into a honey trap operation to bring him back for prosecution. He served 18 years in prison and still lives under heavy restrictions today. India's journey began with scientists researching nuclear energy even before the country's independence. Their true motivation arrived after a humiliating military defeat by China in the Himalayas in 1962, followed by China's own nuclear test just 2 years later. Using reactors imported from Canada and America officially for peaceful electricity generation, India secretly worked toward a bomb behind the scenes, testing what it called a peaceful nuclear explosion in the Rajasthan desert in 1974. That test terrified the country next door, and understandably so. South Africa's story might be the strangest of the entire list. Facing global boycotts over its apartheid regime and fearing Soviet-backed forces creeping closer through neighboring African nations, South Africa turned to an unlikely partner, Israel, trading uranium for weapons technology and research. In 1979, American satellites detected 2 mysterious flashes near South African waters, widely believed to be a joint nuclear test between the two countries. Remarkably, after apartheid ended, South Africa became the only nation in history to voluntarily dismantle its own nuclear arsenal completely. Pakistan's path began after a devastating war with India in 1971 that split the country in two. When India tested its own bomb in 1974, Pakistani scientist Abdul Qadir Khan, who had gained sensitive enrichment knowledge while working at a facility in the Netherlands, brought those blueprints home. With quiet support from China, Pakistan successfully tested its own weapons in 1998, mere weeks after India conducted a new round of tests of its own. And here is where the story takes its darkest turn. Pakistan was later accused of secretly selling nuclear technology to Iran, Libya, and North Korea. In 2004, Dr. Khan publicly confessed to these transfers on television and was placed under house arrest for years afterward. Which finally brings us to the 10th and final country on this list, North Korea. North Korea's founder believed a nuclear weapon was essential to deter old enemies like South Korea and the United States. After the Soviet Union and China both refused to hand over weapons technology directly, North Korea pursued its program secretly for decades, reportedly trading missile designs with Pakistan in exchange for enrichment technology. Their first test in 2006 was so small that many analysts assumed it had failed. By 2009, determined to prove otherwise, they detonated a far more powerful device, one strong enough to register as an actual earthquake. So that is the complete list: 10 countries, decades of secrecy, and enough betrayal between allies to fill an entire spy novel on its own. But here is the question that should genuinely concern you. Is North Korea really the last country to ever join this list? Because right now, Iran is edging closer than ever, and Israel, the region's only confirmed nuclear power, is applying pressure from every possible direction to stop them. And if Iran ever does succeed, Saudi Arabia has openly stated it will not sit back and watch, promising to build its own weapon in response. Which means the next chapter of this terrifying race might already be quietly underway, right now, while you are watching this video.